Well, first of all, what kind of mythical powers does a Sun Devil have? We got to consider that.
Now, Terrell, run the road again!
Hey guys! Hey! I'm having a press conference, okay?
Their fat little girlfriends have some obvious advantages. For one thing, their fat little girlfriends are telling them what they want to hear.
It's Division I football! It ain't either murals!
All right, and welcome to the Hoppy Huddle podcast. I'm Jake, that's Ed, and today we have got Week 5 reactions. And, I mean, there's obviously the big game that looms big, but there's a lot of crazy stuff that happened this weekend that wasn't Alabama, Georgia.
Yeah, it was a good weekend overall. First, address some mic issues. Jake, your mic okay, man? It sounds a little rough.
My mic?
Yeah, I don't know. It sounded a little like you're having everything okay in your end? It's like it's a little loud.
Is that better?
That's a little better, yeah. But we want to hear you, man. We want to hear your opinions. Your opinions matter.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, now you've gotten too soft. Okay.
Are you good now?
You're good now. Yeah, better. All right. We want to hear your thoughts. So obviously,
Thank you.
You can't talk about last weekend. I mean, we could probably spend 30 minutes talking about the Alabama-Georgia game. Crazy game.
Great day.
I mean, it's several games in one. Kick us off. I mean, I've got plenty of thoughts. You were actually down in Alabama. We were in the wrong stadium. We were in Jordan Hare, but we'll talk about that game a little later. Let's talk about Bama-Georgia a little bit.
Yeah, so this was the
up
game.
The mic a little bit. It's a little, something
really?
Something's a little off. Looks like some background or something.
I mean, 1 second.
And our podcast listeners deserve the best audio quality available.
Better?
Yeah, it went lower before, but yeah, try it again.
Okay. Better?
Yeah, let's get our intern on the project when we get a chance.
Yeah, intern. So Alabama, Georgia, this was the absolute blockbuster of the matchup that we were looking forward to since probably the beginning of the season. You get one of these games usually every couple of years, usually involving Alabama, sometimes against LSU, sometimes against Auburn, depending on who. This year it was Georgia. Alabama, Georgia was the marquee matchup. And for the first half, it did not look like it was delivering. You were like, oh, man. Georgia that played Kentucky. What is going on here? This is a blowout. And a lot of people turned off the game or went did other things. But it was a mistake because Ryan Williams, while he did end up securing the game, he could not play defense. And Georgia really turned it on in the second half. And Carson Beck stormed back along with Georgia's offense. They started holding Alabama to something, and they stormed back, and they took the lead. And then Ryan Williams took over the game again. And Bama ended up winning in a all-time classic game. I don't even know what to say because I've had a lot of negative thoughts about Georgia going after the first half. But then they kind of looked better in the second half, although Carson Beck didn't really look fantastic. Even in the second half, he still looked a little, he kind of looked like he'd never played in that big a game before. I don't know what it was. He was missing some throws even in the second half. But yeah, I think Georgia, they clearly don't have an answer for Jalen Milroe running the ball on defense, and that kind of opened things up for the passing game. And Milroe was insanely accurate. He uncorked it and had great placement, which is something we had not really seen.
There are a lot of things I can go back on this game. First of all, Jalen Milroe looks really comfortable in this Kalen DeBoer offense. I mean, that's very clear. And he continues to look more comfortable each week. We saw signs of it in the Wisconsin game. I think we saw a lot of it, especially in the first half. He looked unstoppable. I mean, really connecting with receivers. He was accurate. It wasn't just the short passes. It was the longer passes as well. Very comfortable running in this offense. They seem to really be hitting their strides offensively. It helps when you got weapons like Ryan Williams. And the first half, Georgia just didn't have an answer. Second half, and the offensive side, I continue to say that Georgia just looks like they're lost. It's like Carson Beck can't find the right people. There's something's not right. And I'll tell you what, I don't think ETN looks as good as he did at Florida. He's not right either. Now, it helps. I know Tate Ratledge is out, which, by the way, is that an attractive-looking man or what on the sidelines? I mean, he's got that mullet. He's got a little mustache. We'll get it. Let's put that away for another day. Second half, I don't know. I mean, part of me goes, did Alabama let up a little bit and thinking they were so far ahead?
It felt like it, but Georgia also had to make the play.
They did, but sometimes when you start getting, what did someone say the other day? I don't remember where I heard it. There's no such thing as momentum, but there is confidence. And you almost wonder if maybe Alabama let up a little bit, and then all of a sudden Georgia started to believe in it, and then it's like, oh, you can't just flip it back on automatically, and kind of and Carson Beck did make some plays the second half. You got to give him credit. Feel good for Ryan Williams because besides the fact that he's only 17.
Did you know that he's only 17 years old?
But he was the one who made the punt mistake in the back end there that caused Bama to punt, give the ball to Georgia. Georgia takes the lead, and then of course he makes the spectacular play on that touchdown.
Yeah.
I mean, that last sequence of plays, that last 3 minutes of the game was just incredible. My takeaway from the game is we probably undersold a little bit on Bama coming into the season. We figured they'd step down a little bit. Doesn't appear to be the case. I think they've got a lot of young talent, and Kalen DeBoer seems to be, whether the defense is good as under Saban, maybe a different story, but the offense certainly seems to be gaining momentum each week. So I feel good about Bama. They still got some tough games ahead, but if you look at their schedule now compared to what we did in August, their schedule looks a little bit easier. Some of the teams that we thought were going to be better aren't as good. If I'm Georgia, I feel good about the ability to come back. I'm still a little nervous about, Tennessee and Ole Miss. Even Ole Miss, I'm still a little nervous, and I'm a little nervous. Texas, they've got some road games coming up that now with one loss, you and I had this debate on Sunday. You're like, oh, they're still going to get in the playoff. I'm telling you what, there's not as much wiggle room as before. They go into Texas to get blitzed in a couple of weeks. Now all of a sudden they got 2 losses. There's no wiggle room on that schedule. I don't care if you have that big SEC patch on your chest or not. All of a sudden 2 losses. 3 losses is not a guarantee with teams such as Texas, Tennessee, Alabama, Ole Miss, especially if Ole Miss beats them. That 5th SEC team looking in.
Yeah, I think 2 things really changed from Alabama last year to this year, besides Kalen DeBoer taking over as head coach. And the scheme really matters a lot, for sure. But the first thing is Jalen Milroe has significantly improved as a passer. Maybe not even always in the pocket, but just his accuracy has noticeably jumped this year. Second of all, they got Ryan Williams as an offensive weapon. What was the critique of Alabama last year? Who's their wide receiver, right? Yeah, this year they have a wide receiver. So those are 2 major things that changed since last year. You're talking about what changed, and Milroe's accuracy and getting a wide receiver are definitely things that changed. Georgia, their ability to get down that big is what concerns me, because they were able to come back against Alabama, but that's, I think in my opinion, partly because Alabama doesn't really have the corners that they've had for a long time. Alabama's secondary is mediocre in the SEC. And that allowed Georgia's wide receivers, who we've talked about as not being like the best wide receivers. They don't have a go-to guy. And Carson Beck struggled a little bit, and it allowed them to come back against that weaker secondary. So that doesn't bring me a lot of confidence in Georgia, because there are some secondaries out there that are going to play that are not going to be as permeable as Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, if
like Texas, like Tennessee, So
I don't think Tennessee secondary is better than Bama's, but I think that's all.
Well, their pass defense is better because their pass rush is better.
That's cool. Well, I'll give you that. Yeah, I agree, Jake. I think this, again, I still think Georgia's a top 5 team right now, probably. I'd be a little concerned. I think I'm more concerned than I did probably a month ago with them.
Yeah, I would have them, I think, somewhere below Penn State, but probably above Oregon.
Maybe. We'll see.
I think mostly because, the struggle against Kentucky. But although Kentucky might be better than we think.
Maybe. You and I keep debating this one. But
the
other thing we talked about Sunday as we were driving back from Auburn, which is where the Hoppy Huddle was live. If you weren't following us on the socials, you would have known we were live at the Auburn game on Saturday. But you and I talked about Milroe. Is he starting to look like an NFL quarterback?
Yeah. I mean, now, to be fair, the guys that get drafted by the NFL sometimes just boggle my mind sometimes, because how the heck did Will Levis and Anthony Richardson draft as first-round quarterbacks below? And some of these people that get big contracts in the NFL, I do not understand, because they're just not that good.
Yeah.
So
But he's tracking, based on this, he's tracking towards an NFL draft.
Yeah, he got himself drafted last night. I think before this game, Milroe was not a playable NFL draft, and he may not be first round, but he got himself drafted last night for sure. I think at one point he was at 80% accuracy. I don't think he finished that way, but through a lot of the important parts of the game, his accuracy was insane.
Yeah. So I think, like we all were, when Nick Saban retired, I think we all thought, oh, we can finally breathe a sigh of relief. Bama may actually take a step back. Maybe not.
And maybe a lot of people thought, oh, well, Saban's gone, but now we have Kirby who's ascended. And then Kalen DeBoer in Alabama said, hold on a minute, we're still Alabama.
Yeah. And what's scary is, and defensively, they will take a step back because I think Saban was just such a good defensive coach. But offensively, Kalen, just like he did at Washington, did his other spots, he seems to be able to dial up plays.
I think he's legitimately like a savant. Like he's just smarter than everybody else.
Yeah,
on offense.
Probably so. So that was great. The other thing is, I enjoyed that game thoroughly. I really.
Oh, it was a great game.
And I don't care what people say. It doesn't matter. It matters. It's college football. It's a great game. Did you see? I haven't seen the TV ratings of that number yet. Have you seen any?
I haven't seen any, but I believe it's just all people in the world.
Probably so. And we were sitting with a bunch of Auburn fans, so none of us really knew who to root for. But what we rooted for was football at the end. Great entertainment.
And we had great football.
Yeah. Well, let's stay in the state where we were. We were just across the state at another game, which was Oklahoma's first big road trip in the SEC, and we watched Auburn dominate 3.5 quarters, only to watch Oklahoma steal this one from the Tigers at the end. Tell me your thoughts on that one, Jake.
Yeah, so my thoughts are, man, Auburn just shoots themselves in the foot, because they had that game locked up. They missed 2 separate field goals, really 3 if you count the penalty that gave them another shot, which they then missed. They missed the field goals, which would have basically secured them the game. They threw a pick 6 right at the end, a crucial moment where they were driving down the field, pick 6, that ended up costing them.
I do blame you for that loss, though, Jake. Let's set the record straight.
Right.
Jake, right before the play, tell them the story, Jake.
Right before the pick 6, I said to my brother Luke, I was like, it's really surprising Oklahoma hasn't forced a turnover against this Auburn offense yet. You would have thought that would happen. And right as I ended the sentence, Peyton Thorne throws the pick 6. So that one might be on me, guys. Might be my.
Look at him on the socials at the Hopster. Go follow the Hopster. That's where you need to find him on the socials. Come at him, Auburn fans. So yeah. Well, I mean, the bigger issue with that play, is it was 3rd and what was it, 4 with that play, and they were on the. They
should have ran the ball.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was 4 minutes to go. I mean, you probably, if you run the ball, you're going to take some more time off the clock. You're not in field goal range. If you get the first down, you're golden. But if you don't get the first down, okay, you got a punt. But Oklahoma had done nothing. Oklahoma had that one drive, the first of the game, where Hawkins had that big run. Other than that, they were pretty much held in check. And do you really think they were going to be able to sustain a long drive? That he hadn't proved he could pass the ball at all. And he had. It was like, yes, Peyton Thorne looked good on Saturday. He threw for over 300 yards. He was actually about as good as you can expect from Peyton Thorne. But that's the one play. Well, why put it in his hands? You didn't need to have it in his hands.
Yeah, so I will say one thing here. Not surprising Oklahoma's defense gave up that much to Auburn. Their defense was very well rated going into this. They held Tennessee to 25 points. Auburn's got some receivers. They have some receivers. That'll be interesting. If only they had a quarterback to throw to.
Well,
but
I mean, I think that shows you what Hugh Freeze is capable of doing with people. I mean, he's able to I think, offensively be creative. Imagine if you actually had a good quarterback consistently.
Yeah. I will say one thing. I do think Michael Hawkins showed a lot of toughness. Like, he didn't have the best game throwing the ball, which is hard to put on him considering Oklahoma's top 5 receivers were out of the game.
Yeah.
So 10 for 15, 161 yards throwing. But the key thing is 69 yards on the ground, 4.9, and a rushing TD, and a rushing 2-point conversion, right?
Yeah.
So he played really hard, and the moment wasn't too big for him. I came away decently impressed. He made a couple impressive throws, missed a couple other ones. I don't know if he's better than Jackson Arnold. He didn't turn the ball over like Jackson Arnold did, though. And he's much more mobile. Maybe he is the quarterback for the future. We'll find that out more once he gets some receivers back that he can actually throw to.
Well, we don't know the answer to that question yet because we got to see him with healthy offensive line, healthy receivers. And then we can make a judgment on him. So at this point, when you don't have receivers, you don't have a healthy offensive line, you've got to go with a guy who can run a little because Jackson Arnold's not that guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, props to Oklahoma for getting it done. But, I mean, I really feel like that's when Auburn let slip away. And now you and I talked about this before the game. Boy, Auburn needed that one now to get to a bowl. Now you start trying to drop a bowl scenario, and you hate to already think in September, I'm not sure how you get to 6 wins. It's going to be tough for them.
Yeah. I would just like to send my condolences to the SEC who has to deal with ridiculous Oklahoma nonsense like that, where they absolutely shouldn't win a game and somehow they pull it out. The Sooner magic, as they call it, is still alive and well, and it annoyed many a Big 12 team for a long period of time. And now you guys stop.
That's right. So,
best of luck losing random games to Oklahoma.
Well, just so used to being an SEC podcast, let's go to some other games of the day. Those Kansas State Wildcats.
Yeah, Kansas State. They put the beat down there, didn't they?
Yeah, and I think you and I kind of called this one a little bit. We thought Oklahoma State was the paper tiger. We didn't really think that they would be able to handle the pressure, and we thought Kansas State would get right with at least. And I thought that Kansas State's loss to BYU, which isn't a bad team, was a little more fluky. And then you look at the box score, Kansas State put it to them the other day. Now, Kansas State defensively didn't have a great game in this matchup, but offensively almost, 560 yards.
Yeah, and Oklahoma State got a touchdown in the fourth quarter and garbage time that didn't really matter.
Yeah. But
this game was less close than it even looked.
That's right. But I think Kansas State reasserted themselves as, again, one of the favorites. While the other favorite, whoa, late night action. I know I couldn't stay up late. Did you catch any of that game? Were you?
Which game are you talking about?
The Utah game.
Yes, so I did catch some of that game, and it's pretty clear what we've been saying all season long. Utah with Cam Rising in is a top 10 team. Utah without Cam Rising in is just everybody else in the Big 12. And the other day, everybody else in the Big 12 won. Tetero, McMillan, and Noah Fafita, they ended up putting together enough drives and enough plays, and Utah could not move the ball against them, 23-10. Utah is certainly not out of the Big 12 or playoff race, but what the heck is going on with Cam Rising, and is he alive? Because where has he been? I thought he was for like a hand cut that should have been healed by now. What is his injury? Where is he?
I'm in Europe with Christian McCaffrey. I mean, where is he?
I don't. Did they send him off on a mission trip? I do not understand where is he? So Cam Rising, if he ever comes back, will make them a very good team. A team that could actually win a upset playoff game, in my opinion. They looked when he was in there, they looked like a legit team.
Yeah.
Without him, they're susceptible to this, and if they don't get him back soon, I don't think they'll make the Big 12. I don't think they'll win the Big 12. They may struggle to make the Big 12.
No. I think, they better. Now, I mean, I haven't looked too far ahead on their schedule yet, but you're right. If they don't get him back soon, they're going to lose a few more games. But honestly, the Big 12 is looking like everybody's going to be, they play 9 games, right, in the Big 12?
Yeah.
So how many 6-3 teams are we going to see in the Big 12?
That is a great question. Who knows? And the tiebreakers are pretty random. So, get ready for some arguing online.
Utah goes to Arizona State this week. If Rising's not there, don't call me shocked if Arizona State can't hang in that game. And then they play TCU, which isn't terrible. And then 2 weeks later, they got BYU. You better believe he better be back for that game because BYU is a legit team that can play some defense.
Yeah, BYU absolutely can.
And then they got Colorado and Iowa State. That road is not – Utah has the toughest remaining schedule for
undefeated Iowa State.
Contenders, not pretenders.
Yeah. I want to touch on real quickly the other really late game that I was watching between two very good teams, by the way. John Mateer's Washington State Cougars and Ashton Jeanty's Boise State Broncos. And it is not an understatement to say Ashton Jeanty may be one of the best running backs in the modern era of college football. Like, it's not crazy to say that. Dude, let me just read. He's 3 games so far. Let me just read you his stats real quick. And he's not getting a crazy number of attempts. He's getting 20, 25, 11, 26 attempts. Pretty normal for a running back, right? 167 yards, 13.4 average, 6 TDs. 192 yards, 7.7, 3 TDs. 127 yards, 11.5 average. And 200 last night, or 2 nights ago, he ran for 259 yards, averaging 10 yards per carry and 4 TDs. His season average is 10.4 yards per carry through 4 games, which is a first down every time you hand him the ball. It's nuts. How is he this good? Yeah, he should be guaranteed New York and maybe the first group of 5 team to win a Heisman this century.
Not a chance. Not a chance he wins it. Does he get to New York if he keeps playing like this? I think he probably gets there. But I
think there's a chance he wins it. I don't think he's guaranteed to win it, but I think he may win.
Right now you got to think Jalen Milroe and Travis Hunter are in that group, and they're going to get.
You're assuming Colorado doesn't lose 30 more games, which is very, very.
I don't think, but Travis Hunter's going to be on TV during the daylight hours. Ashton Jeanty's
and
going to be
stays healthy.
And stays healthy. You're right. But then don't count. Jalen Milroe is going to be on prime time every.
Yeah, it would take some finagling of other teams.
Yeah, I agree.
But he is the first player in the 21st century to have a real shot of winning.
Nacho Man 57. Welcome aboard, Nacho Man 57. Yeah, he says he doesn't have the eyes on him. He's the same reason Christian McCaffrey did when no one knows him. Yeah, those late night games are going to kill him. Boise State needs to start getting some games earlier in.
Well, there's going to be a primetime game coming up in 2 weeks against undefeated ranked UNLV.
Yeah, but that's October 12th. Have you seen the schedule October 12th? It could be prime time. They're going to be 4th on that list.
I know. It's unfortunate, but that if he goes off in that game, that may be his showcase game. And obviously, Boise State would need to beat the playoff team and the Mountain West champion.
Now, if you do some of that, they keep heading towards the playoff. They will get more press, but they've got to keep winning.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, let's. Do
you want to touch on some of the other big upset of the weekend?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So, Ole Miss hosted Kentucky, and they played like crap. Where was the Ole Miss offense that we had seen statistically decimate lesser teams? Oh, wait, they played a good team, and they choked. And this happens with Ole Miss every single year under Kiffin.
You don't take glee in this. Do you take glee in this? Does this make you happy?
I don't take glee in this. I'm actually a Lane Kiffin fan. I want Lane Kiffin to succeed. But the problem is...
That's the University of Florida, baby.
The problem is they keep doing this, and it's getting a little frustrating to hear them hyped up every year, and they keep now. Kentucky appears to be better than we originally thought. Kentucky has a legit defense and a really good defensive line. Ole Miss is certainly not out of anything. Maybe Kentucky ends on going and making a bowl and proving like, okay, it wasn't that bad of a loss. So, but it's just you just see highlights and the statistical profile that they came into this game, and you're like, they should destroy Kentucky, and then they don't. And it's a little like maybe they weren't trying, maybe they thought that they could skirt by without showing a lot of scheme. Like, but I don't know. Jackson Dart was just okay. Brock Vandergriff, not good. But
no, I don't
Kentucky,
think
low scoring game
that good at all. I think they've de-emphasized him somewhat as they realize he's just not good enough. Kentucky's going to run the ball on defense, and hopefully they can stay in games. This one surprised me a little bit. We caught some of it, but couldn't catch all of it. I'm just wondering if, is Jackson Dart, he puts up a lot of big numbers in some of the easier games, but is he the best quarterback? Is he going to be able to lead you in the tough games? I mean, I don't know. That's what I'm still.
I don't think they have anybody else. But
no. But
and also have 2 turnovers kind of hurts.
Well, and the field goal kicking let them down. I mean, there's just a lot of things.
Yeah.
I see how this team perform. I'm not ready to write this team off. Again, I think everybody has a bad game.
I'm not writing them off either.
Georgia will barely beat Kentucky, and we didn't write them off yet. So in this new scenario, let's assume you can still have a bad game in September and be okay. So let's just see how they respond.
Yeah, it was just surprising to see them play that poorly.
Go over to one other game I want to talk about. Let's see, I have several here on my list. We haven't talked a whole lot about. Well, let's talk about Illinois Penn State.
Okay.
Penn State did what they needed to do. Won a game, night game at 21-7. Wasn't high scoring. Thank you for not covering Penn State.
Yes.
Illinois. Yeah,
Illinois got that cover.
I feel better about Illinois in this game than I really did Penn State. I mean, Penn State was favored by 17.5. They won by 14. State won. They move on. But I continue to see that Penn State's not blowing good teams away. And Illinois, I think, is just, again, I say it's a well-coached team. They did what they're supposed to do. This was a one-score game until the last 2 minutes of the game. This was 14-7.
Yeah, but it wasn't that ever really in doubt. Like, Penn State dominated.
It was.
They dominated time and possession. They stopped. Illinois did not move the ball. Like, I don't know.
No, but I mean, if I'm Illinois, I'd feel pretty good that I was within one score of Penn State.
Yeah.
I'd feel good if I was an
Illinois can
fan.
come out feeling good.
I'd feel good about the rest of my season. If I'm Penn State, I'm a little worried that offense is still not clicking where they need to be at this point. You start to get into some of the meat of that schedule and some of the opponents they have, I don't think they're going to be able to score enough points to beat some of those.
They don't really have Julian Fleming does not seem to be the alpha receiver that they wanted him to be. They don't really have a great receiving core besides the tight end Tyler Warren, my former.
Voting him for future Mackey Award winner. Come on, Tyler Warren, you need to be winning the Mackey Award.
Yes, Tyler Warren. But so I don't know. I mean, Penn State's also kind of like, I feel like we know they're good, but also we don't know how they play against good teams. So they've played two good teams, but not great teams. So does that defense hold up against the best offenses? It might. It very well could. But
we're going to
it's
see
kind of hard
USC
to tell.
USC 2 weeks. That's going to be a fun matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll be a great matchup. I'm excited for that.
Yeah. So, all right, let's. It wouldn't be a podcast if we didn't talk about your Baylor Bears. Let's talk about them. Do we need some sad?
I am sad. I am very sad. However, after some deep reflection and some ranting in group chats, I have come to the conclusion that it is not as bleak as it appears.
Thank you.
Baylor had a higher post-game win expectancy. They dominated 3/4 of that game. They just got down in the first quarter, couldn't claw their way all the way back. And
7 starters suspended.
yeah, that is interesting. I've heard several conflicting reports on why the players were suspended for different reasons. I'm not gonna spread unconfirmed.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna spread unconfirmed rumors, but they need to get that under control, and so that's important. But I don't think BYU scores that much if all those players.
Yeah. I mean, you got to look at the last 2 weeks if you're a Baylor fan, and you got to kind of shake your head a little bit, going, "Man, we really could have had 2 more victories there." And at the end of the year, that's going to bother you. But by the same token, all this fire Dave Aranda mess that I see all over Twitter, all the Baylor fans, you got to let it up, because this is not the same situation as the Florida fans are dealing with. And I follow all their fans. Their fans have got legitimate beef down in Florida. I know Dave Aranda's numbers, but this team looks completely different than last year's Baylor team. Last year's Baylor team was bad. This is not a
I think that there's genuinely a better case to fire Dave Aranda after last year than currently right now. Now, he could still lose Whitwatch, all that could still happen.
If this team quits on it, maybe.
But right now they're this close to being one.
Yeah, I mean, they're this close, and they're being competitive in the Big 12. Every game is tight. Again, they should have one loss. They should have beaten Colorado.
They can win every game left on their schedule. Is winnable. Possible.
Iowa State, I'd argue, is probably not.
Not Iowa State, I would say. But
every other game's winnable.
It's winnable. They're not going to win all of them. No. But any individual game they could win.
So now, again, they do that. It's great. If they lose most of them, he's probably fired. But I think he's a good coach. And I think, again, you have to, eventually the results matter. But just snake bit in the last 2 weeks. Just, I'm sorry for him. So, of course, we stay in the Big 12. The most surprising team so far to me is going to be the team that you don't like.
Yeah. I mean, it's fair. Colorado really really looked impressive. I watched some condensed plays of the Colorado UCF game, and they looked like a completely different team than they've looked like in every game up until this point. I don't know what flipped over the week, but they looked actually physical. Besides Travis Hunter,
Yeah,
like he's always physical. But like everybody else, it looks like they actually physical. They ran the ball. Now there is some other side of this where UCF's defense might be genuinely full. They've given up a lot of points in some consecutive games now. So UCF defense might be really bad, but Colorado looked physical. They looked like an almost complete team. They're still kind of weak at guard positions on their offensive line, but they protected Shador much better than they had been so far. Again, maybe UCF's D-line. But, yeah, so, I mean, Travis Hunter is one of the best players in college football, if not the best. He's an insane person. I don't know how he does it. He's amazing. He's a great player.
yeah.
There's nothing anyone can say that he's not a great player. My questions were always with Colorado as the team, not ever Travis Hunter or Shador as the player. Can Colorado compete for the Big 12 title? Maybe. I don't know. The Big 12's destroying itself as we kind of all expected going into the season. A bloodbath. The most parity is, of any league. There's no role in any team any given year, except Houston or Kansas, could really have gone into this year and be like, there's a possibility. So,
Yeah, I think for the Big 12 to get 2 spots at this point, they got to hope either Kansas State, Iowa State, and Utah run the rest of the way. They got to hope, and one of those.
I'd say their best hopes are probably K-State and Utah with Cam Rising back, or Iowa State and K-State to run the table, and then Iowa State, or then K-State wins and they both have one loss.
Yeah.
So it's 2 bid leagues still possible, but looking increasingly less and less likely. Do you want to touch on the controversy that happened on Friday night?
Oh, yes. I've got a lot of thoughts on that. So
you've got some thoughts? Okay, let me hear them.
Obviously, we're talking about the Virginia Tech Miami Hurricanes game. Now, in fairness, Jake and I were on the road driving to Auburn, Alabama. So we watched the first half on the plane.
I watched it in the car.
Yes,
so.
and then we were listening to the second half in the car, and then we went back and watched some of the highlights later. So we can talk about the game, and let's first talk about the ending. First of all, the refs, sorry, Virginia Tech fans, I know you hate me anyway, so what does that mean? The refs made the right call, okay? The Miami player was out of bounds. He touched the ball while he was out of bounds, and then the Tech receiver had it. That's the right call. It's not picked it up of him. If the ball's touching out of bounds, it's out of bounds. The problem was the refs couldn't communicate it properly, and certainly the television announcers didn't communicate it properly. So therefore, Twitter
and the radio announcers didn't communicate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's your problem.
The best way to picture it is like a basketball play. If you're out of bounds and you touch the ball's out of bounds. The same thing is in football. You're out of bounds, you touch the ball, even if the other guy caught it, it's out of bounds.
Yeah. But the Hokies fans on X, Twitter went nuts. It was the right call. Now, you want to get upset, Hokie fans. Why don't you get upset at your head coach for having the worst clock management in the history since Les Miles? I mean, my goodness.
Seriously.
I mean, you wasted, what, out of that 30, 40 seconds?
2 plays in a minute is ridiculous.
Yeah, so, you could have had at least a better chance to be closer down the field. Now,
don't forget the fake field goal.
Oh, yeah, we'll get to that. So, Miami, hey, props to Miami. They were down in the fourth quarter. What were they down? 10 points in the start of the fourth?
Yeah.
Yeah. Miami, that game, normally they lose. That shows you the guts and determination of that team. This is a different team, Miami team. They fought back. Program than Virginia Tech this year. Virginia Tech's now 2-3. Don't tell me they deserve to win. They're 2-3 for a reason. So Miami, a win's a win. You take it, you move on, you learn from it. Miami's still down. Their best left tackle's missing. Miami's still got a few injuries that we don't talk about.
Yeah,
that really hurt them, and they're still able to win. I think that if they can get them back, they're only going to be better. So
I will say
Miami.
I will say one positive thing about
please don't
is that their pass rusher, Lenore Ryan or something.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
He's really good. He destroyed Miami's offensive line for like 3 quarters.
Well, he's working on
Only
the
when
backup
Cam-
left tackle. He's not working on Miami's All-American left tackle.
Still,
Yeah.
that was very impressive. And even when they put him in different positions, and I will say he was very good and very impressive.
Wasn't it the Florida transfer?
Florida sure misses him.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. They could use someone like him. So anyway, fans, you can wallow in whatever it is you're wallowing in. You know, it's you're 2-3. You're not going anywhere other than maybe the Gasparilla Bowl or the Sarsaparilla Bowl.
Hey, what's Virginia's record right now?
3-1.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, so, anyway, hey, let's stay in the ACC. A couple of games in the ACC stood out to me. First of all, Florida State, you're just bad, and you're playing Clemson this coming week. Wow. SMU put a beat down on you, 42-16. Brock Glenn, I guess, got some playing time in the end. Now they're saying DJ, I don't know if you saw the new
DJ is that. Yeah. Brock Glenn's the starter.
Well, he's listed Brock Glenn, but now they're saying, I read earlier, was that DJ may have to have some surgery. He may have some problems coming back.
Yeah. No, I saw like 15 minutes ago or something that everybody's pretty sure it's Brock Glenn this weekend.
Yeah.
DJ might have surgery. I don't know. I think SMU has a really good offense and a not good defense.
Yeah.
So they are an old school Big 12 team. They will probably upset some people and also lose to some people this year.
Yeah. And North Carolina 20-0 lead to Duke. Duke beat them 21-20. Not sure if Duke's that great, but I do think that
they're 5-0.
Yeah, but look who they beat before then. A bunch of nobodies.
I mean, yeah, but the Duke. I mean, credit to Manny Diaz. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah, I think it'll be
we're getting them there.
Duke
with that roster.
Yes. Well, and they play Georgia Tech this week, so that'll be a fun matchup to see.
Yeah,
how good Duke
it will.
Because I don't think Georgia Tech's terrible, and so we'll see how good Duke is and see if they can match up with some of the more, more balanced teams in the ACC. So,
congrats on UNLV on upgrading at quarterback. Your quarterback opted out, and your backup was better. So, yeah, that's certainly something. Mikey Keene was Fresno. It's Haj Malik Willis, not Malik Willis, the NFL player. Haj Malik Willis, the UNLV quarterback, threw for 182 yards, 81% completion percentage, 11.4 yards per attempt. An absolute beatdown UNLV put on Fresno State, 59-14. Again, leading to that, basically the group of 5 playoff play-in game. It's looking at this point in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Boise State, UNLV.
That'll be
that will be a fantastic game. Did we touch on Notre Dame Louisville yet?
No, I was going to say that was the next one. Probably a ranked matchup. And can't spot that Notre Dame defense 2 touchdowns and hope to stay in the game.
No, you cannot.
They got Notre Dame. Louisville did it. They got behind, played sloppy, and then all of a sudden.
There were a million turnovers in this game. Louisville had 3 fumbles, had 3 fumbles, and 2 of them lost. Notre Dame had 2 fumbles lost. Louisville had another pick. This was just a crazy game. Like, I think you play it again. I think Louisville and get rid of the turnovers. I think Louisville probably wins close.
Yeah.
But you can't give Notre Dame a lead and with that defense and then expect to just go.
I mean, that's Notre Dame.
Tyler Shuck wasn't bad. He threw for 264 yards, but he was just not amazing either.
No.
Kind of impressed with Marcus Freeman, honestly, because I expected Jeff Brom to outcoach him. Freeman hasn't shown that he's amazing in-game coach, but he did pretty well in this game. And so, yeah, I don't know, good win for Notre Dame. Still don't think they're making it with that playoff loss to NIU, but I guess if they win out, they could probably be in. Louisville, not out of it yet because it's technically not an ACC game. So if you win the conference, you're still in the playoff. I think Louisville may not be as good offensively as they looked. I think they're a good offense, not a great offense. The only defenses that are going to be able to hurt Louisville are probably Miami and Clemson, and in the ACC, and that's probably it. Maybe Syracuse. They don't play Syracuse. I don't know. Probably Miami and Clemson would be the only ones in the conference.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see they still got to play. Louisville plays SMU this weekend. That should be fun. They do play Miami. They do play Clemson.
Think there'll be some points in that game?
Yeah. So Louisville's going to have their chances to impress people. So you beat either Miami or Clemson, that's going to be a nice quality win. You lose both those, you're looking at a
you're out
team that's probably not going anywhere. So
yeah. Let's see anything else happened over the weekend?
Nothing else we really need to spend a lot of time on. I mean, Michigan, did what they needed to do.
Texas A&M beat Arkansas.
Yeah,
I don't think either of those teams is that good.
No. I mean, Michigan continues to run the ball. They go on the road to Washington this week. I think that'll be an interesting matchup because then you're going to be tested a little bit to try on the road, not at home.
Army and Navy both blew out their opponents. Yeah. Still undefeated.
Yes. And USC
got Navy behind beat Army.
USC got behind early at home in Wisconsin and then blew the doors off of them with the second half. So
yeah, I saw it. Oregon took care of UCLA.
Rallied to come back from behind to beat Cincinnati. Texas Tech is now 4-1. I think they're a paper tiger. I don't think they're really going to be that good, but we'll see. Hey, 4-1 is better than 2.
They do have one really good receiver who's a freshman. He's flashed. He hasn't had that game yet, but the potential's there. He was a 5-star receiver. Clemson looked good again. They beat Stanford 40-14.
Yeah, I think
Indiana still undefeated.
Yep.
Beat Maryland.
So we, all in all, a pretty good week. This week looks okay. This is a little lighter week, I think, on some great matchups coming up.
But those are always the weeks that get you, where you don't think there's any big matchups. And then suddenly, boom, a top 10 team loses. We had 2 top 10 teams lose this week. Who knows how many there'll be next week?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've got any. You do have, I think, one ranked matchup. The one team I'm going to keep an eye on this week is literally in a month now, we've said very little about Ohio State. And that's because they really haven't played anybody.
Well, they've played very little.
I know. Well, they play Iowa this week, and Iowa's not a bad team. And so we're finally going to maybe see against a good defense.
Iowa has a good defense. Yeah. That'll be a real test.
Yeah, we've seen, we've talked a lot about Ryan Williams. Guess what, folks? He's only the second best freshman wide receiver in this country. We're going to see the other one.
The other one is a freak named Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to watching him this week. And, there's some other intriguing matchups. We'll see that. I think we're going to do our show Wednesday night, 9 p.m., our week previews, and we're going to break down kind of what's happened in the first month of the season a little bit more.
Yeah, I think so. We'll do kind of some first month overviews, check in on the Heisman race and playoff race and all those sort of things.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
well, I think
thank you guys.
Hoppy Huddle will stay at home again. I think we'll take a break. We're not traveling.
October. Yeah, we will be going to other places. So, but not this weekend. But stay tuned. Follow us on all the socials at Real Hopster on X, the Hoppy Huddle on Instagram and YouTube. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. I really appreciate it. Yeah. See you on Wednesday.
Good night, Greenland.